Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to build a small project that is a Hangman game in Python. And we will be interacting with this game in the console. So let's go ahead and create a new project in our PyCharm or whatever editor you prefer. So I'm going to simply call my project Hangman. You can give it pretty much any name you like. And I'm going to click Create. All right, so once that is built, let's go ahead and create a new file. And I'm going to call this one Hangman as well. Now, we're only going to need one file for this project, okay? So in our file, let's go ahead and create a few variables that we're going to need. So the first one is going to be the list of words that we can choose from to give to our player to guess, right? So I'm going to create a list here. I'm going to call this words. Now, feel free to add your own words here. I have a list of about 20 words that I generated, and I'm going to simply paste them here, right? These words don't really matter. It's just we need to have a sample from which to choose. So go ahead and put your own words and create your own list here. Okay, so we have that, and we're going to use one of these words for each play, one random word from this list to give to our user to guess. So in order to get a random word, we're going to use the import random here at the top. Okay. And down below, we're going to create a few more variables that we're going to need. So first of all, we're going to have a list of letters that the user has tried as they go through the game, right? So I'm going to call this guesses. And for now, it's going to be an empty list. So here's where we put each letter that the user has tried to guess. Next up, we have the amount of guesses that we give to our users. And for this particular game, we have exactly 6 guesses. Okay, so I'm going to create a variable called remaining guesses. That's going to be 6. And this will be reduced every time the user makes a mistake, right? And when we reach 0, we're going to have the user, lose the game, and we're going to print a message to let them know. Now, we're going to have a mistakes variable that is 0, where we count the mistakes, the number of mistakes that the user makes. Then let's go ahead and choose one word from our list of words. So I'm going to say word index is going to be random.randint. So I'm going to choose from 0 to whatever length our list has. Okay, so I'm going to choose one of those, and I'm going to have word is words of the index, so word index, and I'm going to do .upper as well. Okay, so I want uppercase letters, just because we need to compare it to uppercase letters that the user enters. Okay, so we have our word. Now, what I would like to do, I would like to cheat a little bit while we are developing this code and simply print out the word on the screen so that we know what we're dealing with, so we can test our code properly. We can remove this line of code later on when we finish building our project. So I'm going to simply print the word that we've chosen. Okay, like I said, we can remove this later, but it's very useful while we are developing to see which word has been chosen so that we can choose whether or not we guess correctly or not. Okay, so let's go ahead and run our code for now, and we get a random word scarecrow. Okay. All right, just one thing here. When we are choosing a random integer, let's do length of words -1, because we don't want to have the actual size of the words list here. Okay, so this is 20. We don't want from 0 to 20, because choosing the index 20 will get us out of the list and will give us an error, right? So make sure this is from 0 to length of words -1. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start to create the character art for our game. So the character art basically means at each step, when the user guesses a letter, if they are correct, we want to print a message. If they are incorrect, we want to draw a little gallows with a little hangman to let them know at which step in the game they are, right? So we're going to go ahead and create the functions to draw the little gallows with the man being hanged on our console. So let's go ahead and create a few functions, right? Now, I'm going to start off with the end of the game, and we will progress step by step backwards, because that is just a bit easier when we are designing our character art. So I'm going to create a function called something like print 6 mistakes. So 6 mistakes simply means that the game is over, and I want to draw a complete gallows with the whole man hanged, basically, right? So I'm going to go ahead and draw that. So I'm going to print. Now, this requires a bit of creativity. So if you want to create your own character art, go ahead. For me, I've designed a little, drawing. It's not very complicated, but it just, fulfills the purpose, let's say. So it's something like this: 2 spaces, vertical line. We have about 6 horizontal lines here, then another vertical line and another horizontal line. So that's the top. Next up, I have another print. Here, 2 spaces, vertical line and vertical line here. Okay. Now, I'm going to print again. 2 spaces, vertical line, and now I'm going to have the head of the man. It's just going to be a letter O. Okay, next up we have print vertical line. Now we're going to start with the body. So here I'm going to have an arm, a body, and the other arm, which is an escaped character. Okay. Next up we have the vertical bar. We have the man's torso. Okay, then we have print vertical bar, and now we're going to start to create the legs. Okay, so 1 slash like this and 2 slashes like that. Then we're going to print. So that is the whole man. So we're going to build the base of the gallows. So / vertical bar /. Okay, put some spaces here. And then finally, the last one is going to be a / space, vertical bar space, /. All right, so that is the little gallows. Okay, so we can put some spaces here just to align everything if you want. So there we go. We can see the man at each of these stages. So we will have 6 stages, right? So first is going to be the head, body, left arm, left leg, right leg. So that's 6. All right, so this is the function for the level 6, right? So the step 6, let's say. And we're going to go ahead and create all the other functions for the other steps as well. Now, of course, you could design a nicer algorithm to build the gallows, but I'm going to keep it simple and just create it like this. So I'm going to print this 6 times. So I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and finally the 6 that we've created. So let's go ahead. The first one is going to be 0, and here I'm going to simply remove the man completely, right? We don't have any mistakes from our user, so we don't have a man yet. All right, for the 1, we're just going to have the head, so I'm going to remove everything else. Okay, we have the head. For the second one, we're going to have the body. So I'm going to remove the arms and legs. Okay, next up, we're going to have, let me rename the function as well. That is 2 mistakes. For the 3 mistakes function, we're going to have the body and left arm. Okay, for the 4 mistakes, we're going to have body, left arm, and right arm. So I'm just going to remove the legs. For the 5 mistakes, I'm going to have everything except the right leg. And for the 6, I'm going to have the whole man, right? So we can see the progression here. We have head, body, left arm, left leg, and right leg is the complete end game. So that is all for the character art. Let's go ahead and in our program, let's go ahead and print 6 mistakes, let's say, just to see what it looks like. And if I run that, we can get the gallows with the man printed out. This is the end game step, but for now, it's just nice to see the outcome of our character art. All right, now I'm going to remove this because we don't need it right now. And what I would like to do now is I would like to have a function that prints out the status of the game at each step, right? So what we do in the game is we ask our user to input a letter. We compare that letter to our word, see if that letter is included. If it is, we print something. If it isn't, we print something else, right? So here is what I would like to do. First of all, let's go ahead and create a function called something like print game status. Okay, so here, let me just correct that, status. So here, we're going to compare the mistakes that we store in this variable, right? So the mistakes that the user has made. And depending on that, we're going to simply print out one of these character art functions. So I'm going to say if mistakes equals 0, then I'm going to print 0 mistakes. Okay, elif mistakes equals 1, then of course I'm going to print 1 mistakes. Elif mistakes equals 2, I'm going to print 2 mistakes. Elif mistakes equals 3, I'm going to print 3 mistakes. Okay, so we're going to do this for all of them. So for 4 mistakes equals 4, I'm going to print 4 mistakes. Then elif mistakes equals 5, I'm going to print 5 mistakes. And finally, elif mistakes equals 6, I'm going to print 6 mistakes. Okay, so the 6 mistakes is going to be the end of our game. Now, also in this function, I want to print the word that the user has guessed, or the structure that the user has guessed so far. So I'm going to say print. Here I will have a word colon space, and I'm going to put an end equals empty string. So I don't want a new line here. I'm going to do for element in guesses. Okay, the guesses variable stores the guesses that the user has already done, right? So we're going to put for element in our guesses, and I'm going to print an f string. I'm going to say element with a space and end. An empty string. All right, so I don't want a new line here. Now I'm going to say print at the end something like, first of all, I want to put a /n because this will be on a single line, and I'm going to say you have, let's put a f string here, so you have remaining guesses. Guess is left. All right, so I want to print out a message saying that the user has so many guesses left. All right, now in our main program, there's a few things that we need to do. So first of all, let's go ahead and call this print game status method. So I'm going to say print game status, and let's go ahead and run it, see what we get. So we get our word, which for now doesn't really have anything in it. Okay, we will do that in this video. And then you have 6 guesses left. All right, let me remove this for now because we need to do something else. So I'm going to append some empty spaces in our guesses variable. So I'm going to say for I in range. You will see shortly what I mean. So for I in range length of words. Okay, I'm going to say guesses dot append underscores. Okay, so I want underscores for the guesses that the user hasn't yet made. Okay, now if I again call the print game status, okay, then you can see what I mean. So the show word, which is supposed to be guessed, the user will see it as just a bunch of underscores. Okay, so for each letter that the word contains, we have an underscore here. All right, so that is the game status. Now, I want to put the algorithm of the game inside a loop, right? So before the print game status, I'm going to have a while loop, and I'm going to create a variable before that. I'm going to say game underscore over equals false. So I'm going to say while not game over, then I'm going to go ahead and run the game algorithm. For now, what I would like to do in this video is simply get a letter from the user. Okay, we will use that in the next video, but for now, let's get the user input. So I'm going to print the game status. I'm going to say user underscore input equals input. Please enter a letter with a /n, and I'm going to check that it is a valid letter. So if not user input, I'm going to print a message, something like that's not a valid input, please try again. And in the else block, I'm going to pass for now. So that is going to be the game loop, right? Here I'm getting a user input. I'm checking whether that's a valid input. If it's not, we're going to go through the while loop again. And if it is a valid input, here we will put the game algorithm, the game content, right? So for now, let's go ahead and run this. Let's enter a letter. Let's enter something like an empty space. And we get that's not a valid input, please try again. I'm going to enter a letter this time, A, and the game continues, right? We're simply looping through this while loop. The game is not over yet, and we're printing the game status again, and we're asking the user for another letter, another guess. So there you go. That is the setup for our game. Now, in the next video, we're going to go ahead and implement this algorithm in the else block here. That will allow us to get guesses from the user and compare them to the words that we have selected and see if they match. And if they match, we can do something with those letters. Okay. If they don't match, we can again see that the user has progressed, and we will print out another character art here. All right, so now let's go ahead and put together the algorithm for our game, which simply means inside our while loop, if the user has entered a correct input, then we can proceed and go ahead with our game. So I'm going to remove the pass here, and we're going to say something like letter is going to be user input of 0. So I'm going to take the first letter of whatever the user entered. Okay, they may enter a word, and I just want the first letter, and I'm going to do .upper. Okay, because we're comparing uppercase letters with uppercase letters here. All right, so we have the letter. Now we can say if letter in word. Okay, so if the letter is correct, then we can say for I in range of, so we're going to go through the whole word. So I'm going to say length of word. Then what can we do here? We can say if word of I, so index I, is equal to letter. Okay, so we have our position as well. It's the position I. We can say guesses of I is going to be letter. Okay, then we can move out of the for loop. We can say if we can check whether we still have any underscores in our guesses. Okay, so if we have, if we don't have any underscores, it simply means that the user has guessed all the letters and the game is over. So we can say if underscore not in word, in guesses, then the game over equals true. Okay, so we are simply guessing letters, and if we have guessed all the letters in the guesses variable, okay, in our guesses list, then that means the game is over. Okay, and we will do something if the game is over later on, but that simply means that we are moving out of the while loop. Okay, there's no need to ask the user for another letter if they have guessed all the letters that they need. All right, so that is the case if the letter is in the word, but what happens if it is not? So I'm going to say else. We can simply print a message, something like, sorry, that's not part of the word. Okay, let me remove that, correct that spelling. Okay, and what do we do here? Well, we have a variable remaining guesses. Okay, so I'm going to reduce that by 1. So I'm going to say remaining guesses minus equals 1. Okay, so we're removing 1 guess. Now we are counting the mistakes as well here. So I'm going to say mistakes plus equals 1. And we can say if mistakes equals 6, then game over equals true. Okay, so that is basically it. That is all we need to do, right? So we are letting the user enter a letter. We are checking whether that letter is correct, so it is in the word. And if that's the case, we are setting it in our guesses list. Okay, so at the beginning, our guesses list has only underscores, but afterwards it will have letters. Okay, then at some point, if the user has guessed all the letters, then the underscores have all disappeared, so that means the game is over. However, if the letter is not in the word, then we are printing an error message, we are updating our status, and we are checking whether we have 6 mistakes, in which case the game is over again. All right, so that's it for the algorithm. Let's go ahead and run it and try it out ourselves. So we have 6 letters left, so we have a banana. Let me try the B. Okay, so we see that one of the letters has been filled here, and the rest are underscores. And we have 6 guesses left. Now let me try a wrong letter, so I'm going to say C. And we have 5 guesses left because C is not part of our word. Sorry, that's not part of the word. Okay, so we have the noose here, the gallows, and we can see that we have made a mistake. So the man is starting to show here. So let me put another few wrong letters. So let's say T and R and N. Oh, N is actually true. So for N, you can see that it has been filled out in both places, right? We're checking both, we're checking the whole word, and we are printing the position in all the places that it has been found in the word. Let me try another wrong letter, so M. Okay, so we can see that the man is starting to appear here. So let's say L. Now we have one more guess. Let me try the another wrong letter and see what happens. Okay, so there we go. That's not part of the word. What happened here is that we have set the game over to true, and we have exited the while loop. Okay, so we still need to handle the case where the game is over. We need to print out a message, but for now we can see that our algorithm is working as expected because we are moving out of that loop when the game is over. Now let's try to guess the whole word completely, and that should take us out of the loop as well, but again without a message at the end. So let me run the game again. So we have waxing. Okay, so let me try, I put that in the wrong place. Let me try the W, A, X, I, N, and G. Okay, so we can see that at the end, the game over is set to true here. So we're moving out of the while loop and we're not displaying anything. Okay, so in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to handle the end of the game in both situations, whether the user has won the game or the user has lost the game. We need to print out some message and print out to let the user know what has happened and what the end stage of that game is. All right, so let's go ahead and put together the last bit of the game where we handle the end state. Okay, so here, when we are out of the loop, we will go ahead and say if mistakes equals 6. So basically, when we are out of the loop, it always means that the game is over, right? The only way we can exit this loop is through one of these conditions where the game is over. So at this point, it means the game is over. We simply need to check whether the user has won or the user has lost. And we do that based on the mistakes variable here. So we can say if mistakes equals 6, then the user has lost the game because they have made 6 mistakes, okay? So we can say, first of all, we need to print the game status, and then we can say print an F string, sorry, you lost. The word was word. Okay, so we want to show the user what the word actually was. Now we can say else. Now in this situation, the user has won, right? So what I would like to do, I would like to print out a nice message to let them know that they have won. So first of all, what I would like to do, I'd like to print out some nice emojis. And I'm going to do that with a for loop. So I'm going to say for I in range of 4. Okay, and I'm going to print. Now I'm going to print the emojis based on the code. So feel free to copy these ones if you like, or use your own emojis, your own codes, if you prefer to use something else. So I'm going to say /u0001 F389. That's one. Then we have another one /u0001 F38A. And another one, the final one, U0001 F388. Okay, with a space at the end because we're looping, we're printing this 4 times. And I want the end of the print statement to be an empty string because I don't want a new line. However, after the for loop, I do want a new line, so I'm going to print an empty message here. Then I'm going to print something like, congratulations, you won. Okay, and then I'm going to print an F string. The word was word. Okay, there we go. So that should be it. Let's go ahead and run our code. So we have a 4-letter word, which is show. Okay, let's try it out. And first we're going to win the game. Okay, so SHOW, show. So there we go. We have our emojis here. Okay, the for loop with the 3 emojis. Then we have congratulations, you won. The word was show. All right, so that is the winning case. Let's go ahead and run and lose the game. Okay, so attempt is the word. We're going to use the R letter. We're going to guess a few wrong times. There we go. So we have lost everything. You have 0 guesses left. Okay, sorry, you lost. The word was attempt. Now, there are a few things you can add and improve here. So first of all, with this game as it is right now, you can guess the same letter multiple times. Okay, so I'm going to say R, 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 R. Okay, so what you could do is you could track the guesses that the user has has entered, and you could filter for those, right? So I'm going to leave that as a homework for you as an exercise. You could filter that, and the way you would filter it is you would add a condition to this if statement. If the user has already entered this guess, then you need to go through the loop again, right? You don't need to go through the algorithm. Now, another thing to do here is to remove the printout of the word. Okay, so I'm just going to comment this out. And if we run it like this, the actual game makes sense, right? There's no answer printed here, so you actually have to guess what the word is so you can actually play the game. So there you go. That is how we would build a Hangman game in Python using text in the command line and using character art for our game graphics.